Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Shag Dog, no Jammer. Couldn't get a hold of Jammer today. I saw him online about, he must have been on about 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock. He had to work. But I didn't see him after that. Say, hey, beer reviews, question mark, no reply. Showed that he wasn't online for 5 hours. I'm like, okay. So I'm just doing some drinking and thinking. I don't have no beers to review anyhow. So some Yuengling beers. Hey, kids. You're not going to drink it, are you? Yeah, drinking and thinking, drinking some Yuenglings. Doesn't get any better unless you kill some Yuenglings. I felt like drinking something different, but I knew I had these still, so I had like a couple I had from my brother, a couple I had from another purchase I made out of a 6-pack. $9.99 for a 6-pack of pounders of Yuengling, and then another place was $8.99. So big head on there. What are we going to talk about today, huh? Anything. I just want to drink some beers, and then unfortunately I got a big head. Anyhow, let's give it a little description. Yes, it's Yuengling, a little caramel, malty, a little sweetness in there. It's good. Unfortunately, my new table design is not copacetic. Is that the word? My front table laptop is higher than this table, so I have a higher chair than I used to have too. So that's another. Yeah, it is what it is, right? It be what it be. Let's get into that beer, right? Delicious. So drinking and thinking. Trying to see if I can hear myself. Test. Yeah, okay, I'm coming through. So I'm just going to ponder about things, nostalgic, whatever. That's what I talk about. I don't even know any new music artists. I don't know what timeline. I mean, you got to figure in the 90s when MTV went downhill. Some 90 bands I followed, of course, Pearl Jam. I was a big Seven Mary 3 fan, Gin Blossoms, a little bit of Goo Goo Dolls. Some of the other grunge bands, Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains, all that kind of stuff, Nirvana. I just didn't have any bands to follow, man. I still followed my 80s bands pretty much into the 2000s. There's a couple bands here and there, Audio Slave with Chris Cornell. But there's only a few songs I like. Foo Fighters, again, probably every album they had, maybe 2 or 3 songs. I did like the 2011 album, pretty much the whole album. But that was the last one I even liked by the Foo Fighters. Since then, I haven't really liked any of their stuff. So, I mean, music, what happened to it? Are you just getting old and you get out of it? You're not hanging out with friends as much, so you're not hearing new stuff or whatever. Who knows, right? But speaking of nostalgic, how about a little bit of new stuff? Me and my brother, one of his friends, watching some UFC fighting Saturday. And we were talking about a little bit of college football. I actually told my brother, he's got this old table outside, rectangular glass with the old school green metal, color on the legs and the band going around the glass. A little chipped up, old, He's talking about paint. I said, yeah, paint the same color. Matter of fact, here, he's a big Hurricane fan. I said, I told AI, hey, took a picture of the table, make this look good as a Miami Hurricane, put a decal on the glass, and it looked pretty good. All you got to do is get a stencil, really, or some type of, what do you call that? Press, whatever. Or some glass paint or something if you want to get some good artists. It looked pretty good, especially with that green that's already on there, But what we also talked about is the college football NIL and the transfer portal. Is that ruining rivalries? I mean, when you got a quarterback gets hurt and they say, oh, we're going to start this person. So that quarterback doesn't even want to fight for that job. He just transfers to another school. I don't like any of that stuff. Really, I hate it. It's teaching these kids to be more about me, you know? Should be paying those damn college kids. I can see if they're gonna like this is gonna be on a video game. A video company has to pay them, and I'm not saying because they're not paying them that much from what I heard for the video game stuff, but for the schools paying people to come there, that shouldn't happen at all. Because the schools that are bigger got more money than some of the smaller colleges are going to get the better players. Yeah. Anyhow, just my thoughts, drinking and thinking. What about NASCAR? Is NASCAR as popular as it was when Dale Earnhardt Sr. was racing? Well, it definitely isn't as popular as the day he died. Hate to say that, but people that didn't watch NASCAR maybe heard about it so they definitely heard about NASCAR on that day. And why is my phone ringing off the hook? All right. Yeah, so do I think NASCAR is as popular as it was back when Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon was racing, all those guys, the Rainbow Warrior? I don't think so. I can't even. The one NASCAR guy that just died recently, was it Kyle Busch? Was it? Not too many people in NASCAR that I know their names. There's a few that've been around for a while, but I never was a big NASCAR fan. Yeah. And I don't care what you say about NFL quarterbacks today, even including the likes of Tom Brady and say Peyton Manning. Although I do like Peyton Manning, they both weren't mobile quarterbacks. That's for damn sure. But how many records they both broke? But are those guys as good as the quarterbacks of yesteryear, going all the way back to the '60s? The Bart Starrs and all those guys, and then the '70s. Fran Tarkenton, Roger Staubach, Terry Bradshaw, 80s, Montana, Marino, Elway. Then the 90s, people like Aikman, Favre. Do the quarterbacks today, are they as good as those quarterbacks? I don't think so. Some of them are quite more mobile. But as far as winning, staying in the pocket, leading the team, not too many you can name off the bat. I mean, that quarterback for the Cowboys, they keep giving him raises. He hasn't done nothing. Yeah. Time to give him a raise, renew his contract, he just starts screwing up. What the hell year was was his rookie year when he went to the playoffs and almost beat the Packers or whatever it was? That was his name. I forget his name. Prescott, right? Zach. I'm a Cowboys fan. I hate to admit that. What year did Zach Prescott go to his first playoffs? 2016. It's been 10 years. What they won? One playoff game? I don't even know. Time to get rid of him, man. 10 fucking years? You're going to be paying that guy that much money? Come on. Fucking Jerry Jones. He should have kept Jimmy Johnson. Jerry Jones should have just stayed up in the box, kept his mouth shut, and let his coach do his job. I can see Jimmy Johnson, though, being at the college level, you're pretty much like the boss. The school don't tell you what to do. You run a team. You run everything ins and out of the team. You ain't got really a boss, really. You get to the NFL, you got the owner trying to do things that like they know, think they know shit. Yeah. Most people, coaches, college coaches, don't want to deal with a owner. Yeah. What's some other college coaches that were good but didn't do good in the NFL? Lou Holtz, right? Steve Spurrier. Some other college. Let's Googleize that. What are some good college football coaches that never did it in the NFL? Now, not Steve Spurrier. What the hell's the guy for the Seahawks? You give him I forget his damn name, but he did pretty good, right? Steve Spurrier won the national championship, Florida. Yeah, NFL with Washington, he went just 12-20. Nick Saban went 15-17 with the Dolphins before returning to Alabama. Urban Meyer, 3 national titles, but only 2-11 with the Jacksonville Jaguars in one disastrous season. Bobby Petrino, excellent college coach, but 3-10 with the Falcons. They resigned before the finish. Even, all these damn great. Lou Holtz, Hall of Fame college coach, with his lone NFL season with the Jets, ended 3-10. Yeah, good thing Jimmy Johnson didn't give up his first season, right? What did he go with the Cowboys? 1-15 or something like that? Yeah. So now give me some names of some college coaches that did well in the NFL. Wait for it. It's thinking. It's thinking hard, actually. Well, I was thinking, let's get the rest of that beer in there. Top of the list, Jimmy Johnson, no doubt, right? Jimmy Johnson built Miami into a national champion, then rebuilt the Dallas Cowboys and won 2 Super Bowls. He's probably the best modern example of a college to football, excellence or whatever. Paul Brown won a national championship at Ohio State, then created a professional dynasty with the Cleveland Browns, winning 4 AAFC championships and 3 NFL championships. Pre-Super Bowl days. Barry Switzer, although he took over Jimmy Johnson's team, so won 3 national championships at Oklahoma and later won Super Bowl 30 with the Cowboys. Some people argue he inherited Jimmy Johnson's loaded roster, but the championship still counts. And that was his first year with the Cowboys. They made it to the NFL championship and lost against 49ers. But then the second year, they went back to the Super Bowl for the 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years. But yeah, most of that team was Jimmy Johnson's team. So Tom Coughlin had success coaching runs at Boston College before winning 2 Super Bowls with the Giants. Pete Carroll, that's what I was thinking of. Modest first NFL run, became dominant at USC. So he started NFL, went modest career, went to college USC, and then went back to the NFL, won a Super Bowl with Seattle, narrowly winning another. Jim Harbaugh turned Stanford into a power, immediately took San Francisco to 3 straight NFC championship and a Super Bowl. Dick Vermeil coached UCLA to a Rose Bowl victory, and then eventually won a Super Bowl with the St. Louis Rams. He also coached the Eagles way back in the day to a Super Bowl, but lost against the Raiders. Bill Walsh had a successful college head coach at Stanford, another Stanford coach. Then built the San Francisco 49ers dynasty and won 3 Super Bowls. Yeah. Who made the greatest college to NFL transition, Jimmy Johnson or Pete Carroll? I'd say Jimmy. Jimmy rebuilt Dallas from the bottom while Carroll proved himself in the NFL, dominated college football, and then returned to win a Super Bowl. But, Jimmy Johnson took that team, all the trades they made. I don't care what anybody says. The trade's a trade, the Minnesota thing, none of those players were like top tier. They were good, but they weren't top tier, Anyhow. What really hurts Minnesota with that trade is they got Herschel Walker for all those picks and everything. And then Herschel leaves Minnesota, goes to what? Like the Eagles. Who else did he play for? He played for anybody else? And then he comes all the way back to the Cowboys again. That's a stinger. Years later, I might add, but for his final couple seasons that he played. Anyway, did kickoff duties mostly, so kickoff return. Let's see. What else we got? Yeah. Oh, yeah, the World Cup just ended. You're right. Thanks for noting that on my comments there. Yeah, America's not a football, soccer country. We just aren't. And there's some people that like it, but you looked when the U.S. dropped out, when the U.S., Canada, and Mexico dropped out of the World Cup, the ticket sales or whatever went down. Yeah, so and all these years with the World Cup, there's only been like 7 countries that won it. You know, Argentina, Brazil, Italy. I think England, United Kingdom has one. Germany has one or two. Argentina. I think like Uruguay actually has one world title. Uruguay. A couple other countries, Spain, France. Um, yeah, there's only like 7 or 8 countries that have won that, and a couple of them multiple times. So nobody likes that bullshit. And you know what's really bad about soccer? You get to the end of the game. Well, I guess the ref keeps their own time instead of the clock you're watching. So it's supposed to be 90 minutes, but it might run 98 minutes, 102 minutes, whatever. They're letting it run, giving the team another chance. I say when the clock ends, the clock ends. Screw that. But I guess what happens, the game's continuously running and the clock continues running, but the refs keep track anytime the play stops for some reason. They have a timekeeper or something, which I think everybody should see that. That should be on the main clock and it shouldn't stop. I don't know. They keep track of, kind of estimate what time needs to be left. Sports ball is weird. Did I say sports ball or is that from a movie? I don't know. That's sports ball. I must be. Is that something to do with Adam Sandler? I know his mom says foosball. Foosball is the devil sport, right? Uh, yeah. No jammer today, though. I'm just drinking and thinking and having fun. Another question with sports, especially with the World Cup. I don't know how much tickets we're going for that, but are sports too expensive for the average family now? Me and Jemmer went. I've only been to one NFL game in my life, and it was a preseason game with the Bucks. I'd rather sit home and watch it on TV and drink my beer for cheap. And anyhow, I forgot it was a preseason game. We're up at about the 13th row, maybe the 12th. I don't want to be unlucky, but yeah, those tickets were outrageous. We got them for free from one of his coworkers, but what those tickets cost just for a preseason game, and I mean they're good seats. Don't get me wrong. But almost like 40-yard line, 13th row or somewhere around there up. But it was like $200 or $300 a ticket, and that was back in 2011. Who knows what they are now? Now, a regular season game, who knows what that would cost? But yeah, I'd rather go to see some minor league baseball or something, and somehow sneak my own beer in would be great. What else we got, though? Yeah, that's all the sports talk I got. Here's a good one. When we were kids, we watched Saturday morning cartoons. Kids today wake up every day, not just Saturdays, but every morning. They got their YouTube, TikTok, whatever that they're watching. That's what they watch. They wake up early. I wonder what age. Oh my God. You gotta get up and watch all these crazy characters. Mr. Beast or whoever. Or Shag Dog, whoever they're watching on YouTube. If kids are watching us, God bless them. But yeah, would you rather have that or Saturday morning cartoons? The excitement of your favorite cartoon being on a Saturday morning. Actually, my only favorite cartoon when I was a kid was the Super Friends. I don't give a shit about all those other cartoons that were on Saturday morning. I wanted to see the Super Friends. There might have been a couple other ones I liked, but it was mainly the Super Friends. I did watch a YouTube video the other day that showed the most popular cartoons all from the 20s, the silent cartoons. Of course, Felix the Cat was one of the first ones. Believe it or not, Donald Duck for Disney. There's some other Disney cartoons that were out before them, the main ones. They had some cat too, a couple other characters. And Donald Duck came out. He became the most popular Disney character at one time. Mickey came out, and Mickey was down like 10th or 12th on the list, when Donald was like 3rd for a while. And it took a couple years for Mickey to get up there. But once like World War II era came around, Mickey jumped up higher. Pretty sure. Yeah, it was an interesting thing to watch, because some of my favorite cartoons weren't even on the top list as I watched. I mean, some of them in the 80s, late 70s, 80s. It's like, okay, I remember those. But a couple of my favorites weren't even on the list. Of course, yeah, I guess they weren't that great overall, Thundar the Barbarian. Thundercats were on a lot of those 80s cartoons. Thundercats, Transformers, G.I. Joe, all those big ones were on the list. But something like, Dungeons and Dragons wasn't on the list. I didn't even see Mr. Gadget on the list, surprisingly. I think I need another beer. Hey, if you're watching, hold on 1 second. Shag Dog's grabbing another beer. Oh, yeah, we are back. Shag Dog once again. No jammer. No jammer for this terrible Tuesday drinking and thinking. Terrible Tuesday drinking and thinking. Terrible Tuesday. I figure I'm going to, maybe it depends how quick I finish this. I might have one more after this one. Don't want to get too much head on this one. All right. What's next? Cartoons, right? All right, here you go. Yeah, I didn't even see this next question on here. It has, which cartoons ruled? Scooby-Doo, Super Friends, He-Man, Thundercats, Transformers, or G.I. Joe? Yeah, there you go right there. Now, Super Friends were before all those, because if you remember, the original Super Friends had just Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Robin, Aquaman, and Marvin and Wendy is their name. And that Wonder Dog, I guess his name was, or some shit like that. And then it came out later. Did they have Jan and Zayna next? The Wonder Twin powers activate? I think so. And then around the same time, they came out with all the ethnic superheroes. They couldn't use Black Lightning, who was a real DC character, due to licensing issues. So they created a new one called Black Vulcan, Vulk. I thought it was Black Falcon at one point. Anyhow, that they had the Samurai, was a Japanese one, Apache Chief, Make Big, Indian Make Big. I mean, what's the proper word we're supposed to use now for Indians? Damn, I can't even think right now. Yeah, Native Americans. Is that it? Samurai, Apache Chief, Black Vulcan. I think that might have been the 3. Oh, they did have a Mexican guy at one time. I think his name was El Dorado. There you go. For all you superhero trivia right there. And then and later on they had like the superpowers team, which they included like Firestorm, and then before that though they had all the Super Friends Justice League type characters. They had Green Lantern, Hawkman, Green Arrow. I don't think Green Arrow was on there. If he was, it was very seldom. But they fought the Legion of Doom, all the bad superheroes, or supervillains. And then they had the superpowers, had Firestorm, and then I think Darkseid started coming in that time. And then later on, they brought Cyborg in the next season. Yeah. So by '85, the Super Friends were done. Now G.I. Joe was pretty good. Thundercats was pretty good. Transformers, He-Man was pretty good. Scooby-Doo was excellent. I like the Scooby-Doo ones where they had the actors or famous people show up as celebrity guests. The Harlem Globetrotters, Don Knotts, Jerry Reed, Mama Cass, a whole bunch of them. And it was the real people doing the voices, except for, I think it was like Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello. They had to get character actors to play those voices. But all the people that were still alive at that point actually did their own voices. They should have had Casey Kasem as a guest. Then he could have not only done Shaggy's voice, but his own voice. All right. Yeah, so who do you think is the best cartoon in those days? Late 70s, mid 80s? Scooby-Doo, Super Friends, He-Man, Thundercats, Transformers, or G.I. Joe? There you go. Next up, best sitcom ever. On their list, they got Cheers, Night Court, Taxi, WKRP, Family Ties, or Married with Children. But there's so many more. How can you choose, right? Which one was Family Ties? Was that the one with Michael J. Fox? Yeah, Growing Pains was with the other guy. Okay. Growing Pains was pretty good, too. You can't forget about the Cosbys. I mean, that's where he probably did most of his testing for, the thing. Hopefully none of those girls have ever, had experience like they woke up and they don't know how they got in a certain area backstage or something. Hopefully not. Or, I don't think the lady that played Mrs. Huxtable had a good relation with Mr. Cosby, so I wonder if he tried to do some stuff with her. I wonder. And the Cosbys were good. And I didn't look at the Cosbys as, the black show, because it was like a normal family. They didn't go on about how black they were or anything like that. It was, hey, I'm Dr. Huxtable. This is my kid's Theo, and I forget the other girls' names, but all the girls. So it was actually a wholesome TV show, like most 80s shows were, Now, if you had a Cosby show now, imagine it. Imagine. And there was other great shows that were black shows back, not in the 80s, but in the 70s. You had the Jeffersons. You had Good Times. What's Happening? I mean, come on. So you had diversity on TV. Don't say you didn't. And they were good shows. Matter of fact, Good Times, or not Good Times, the Jeffersons, a spinoff from, All in the Family. So, great show. And Good Times was great, too. I like Good Times. Yep. All right, so there you go. What's your best sitcom from those back in those days, 70s, 80s, even early 90s? If you like Full House or something like that. Was that early 90s or late 80s? I can't remember. Music, best hair band that deserved more. What hair band deserved more respect? Rat, Dokken, Cinderella, Tesla, Great White, or Skid Row? Who deserved more respect with those bands? Yeah. Hey, cheers! Thank you for commenting. Who is that? BLP in San Gel. Hey, welcome. Yeah, so who deserved more respect out of those hair bands? I think some of them did get actual respect, but who probably underrated or out of those bands, a lot more people would say probably as far as top 10 hair bands, maybe Rat and Cinderella might be in the top 10. But you have to put Skid Row in there. Their debut album was pretty good. Their second album debuted as number one, the first hard rock heavy metal album to debut at number one. Even though I don't think it was good as the first one. A lot of people liked it, but it was a little bit harder or whatever. Dokken, Rockin' with Dokken. I mean, most of their albums were all right. Cinderella. I wasn't a big Cinderella fan, but there was a lot of Cinderella fans out there that think Cinderella are in the top 5 hair bands. I'd put them at number 12 or 13 myself, but that's just me. Tesla was a great band. I wouldn't put them in the hair band category, although some of their songs were leaning that way, even though I think they were just a hard rock band. None of them had the big hair. I don't even think in their first album if they had like the big hair shit going on or anything. Great White, another one. I don't think consider them like a big hair band. They were more like just a hard rock band, you know. I'll have to look back at their old videos, see if any of them had their hair puffed up. Yeah. So Rat is my favorite hair band, actually. So anyhow. Speaking of Rat, this is your 40th anniversary of the third album, Dancing Undercover, which is a very underrated album. I thought it was pretty good. I think the production on the album was a little crappy, especially in between each song. It'd be like there was no space between songs, like into the next song. Like as soon as the one song ended, it was like a split second. The next song started, and I was like, man, have a little break in there. What the hell's going? Who the hell made that record, man? I think they wanted to get the hell out of the studio, though, from what I saw behind the music. The producers and all that. They were like, fuck it, that's a wrap. Let's go. First cassette you ever bought. And we're talking about cassette, not CDs, 8 tracks. What was the first cassette you bought or received as a gift? I'm trying to think. My first cassette that I recall receiving as a gift, that chair makes a lot of noise. Sorry about that. Was Def Leppard High and Dry. It was actually when Pyromania came out. I asked for that in Christmas. I got Def Leppard Pyromania or High and Dry because it's on sale for like $5 or whatever. And my older brother he asked for Pyromania too. He got Def Leppard, the first one, On Through the Night. So we got gypped. But I actually liked High and Dry, so it's my favorite Def Leppard album, I think. It might, to me, it's a little bit harder and rawer than Pyromania. Doesn't have any of that poppy stuff on it, so. Although I do like Pyromania too, but yeah. That's my first cassette that I recall getting. And just for the hell of it, during that Christmas, my mother gave my youngest brother, who was probably 11 at the time, maybe 10, she got him a cassette too, just for the hell of it. He didn't even ask for one, but she got him Black Sabbath, Born Again. Little baby devil, little baby demon on the cover. Pretty funny. And it even had a song with a curse word, a curse title, and it was called Digital Bitch. I was like, I don't think Mom looked at the song list on this one. That's pretty funny. All right, next was Was MTV's Headbangers Ball the greatest music show ever? For the time, I thought, wow. And, they did play the hair bands on those shows too, but you did get the harder stuff too, like the Slayer or the Iron Maiden, or when Metallica eventually started doing videos. It was a great show. Unfortunately, the only thing bad about it was on late. I only know what time East Coast it came on. It was late. I know that. Let's Googleize it. When Headbangers Ball originally came out on MTV and the following years, about what time did it air on MTV? Because I thought it was pretty late, like 1 or 2 in the morning on the East Coast it came out. Prove me if I'm wrong. You remember it as being later than it originally was. The Headbangers Ball debuted on April 18th, 1987. Saturday nights at 11 p.m. Okay, it was 11 p.m. They probably re-showed it at like 1 or something. Ran for 3 hours until 2. Oh, okay. Yeah. 11 to 2. All right. Well, maybe that's why I was thinking it was late, because it ended late. In later years, MTV occasionally shifted its late night schedule in some markets. The local cable system. Now, you know what MTV did to me one time? I was so pissed. Maybe because it didn't get enough tickets sold, or they didn't think it'd have enough ratings. But Rat was on MTV Unplugged, and it had commercials. And Rat, a special guest. Who the hell they have as their special guest? Vixen and somebody else. MTV Unplugged. And I'm like, all right, good to see Rat and MTV Unplugged. And I'm sitting there watching MTV, waiting for it to come on, and then a little message came up saying it's not being broadcast in your area or some shit. I'm like, it's not like I lived in New York City. I lived like 2.5 hours away from New York City. So I don't know what happened there. I didn't get to see it. And there's some videos out there of them doing Born on the Bayou and Waco Jr., but I think that's about it. Rat or MTV needs a release. Rat's MTV Unplugged. Put a whole show on YouTube so I can watch it. So that's the second time. Another time was WCW's final Nitro or show or whatever the hell it was. I think it was Nitro. When they got bought by WWE. I came home from work. I got off work at 10. Took me about 10 minutes to get home. And of course, it starts at 9, whatever time it is. If I go to the channel, it's not on. I'm like, what the hell? And then there's a message on the cable TV thing saying, oh no, it wasn't on. The cable was out. They were doing some update or something, or some bullshit. I was like, what the Yeah, so 2 times I got screwed. Yeah. Let me close this door real quick. Yeah. All right. Oh, bless me. Oh, rugby. Thanks to the new viewers watching. Yeah, I might drink one more. I don't know. I wish Jammer could have joined, but you know what? I wouldn't even got a lot of these little tidbits I'm talking about out with Jammer on. Yeah. Concert ticket prices today versus the 80s. I didn't really or not. The only concert I went to in the 80s, believe it or not, being a hairband fan, I went to a Grateful Dead concert. That's the only concert I ever went to in 1989. It was a free ticket, free backstage. Girl I was dating at the time, her mother and uncle were big Grateful Dead fans. They got free tickets. 4 tickets. They were supposed to be taking someone else. That person didn't want to go, so I went. And it was pretty good. So I don't know how much it was, but I don't go to concerts. I've been to a couple of concerts here in Tampa, and I just find the prices just too much to be so far away. I'd rather go home and listen to the music on either CD or streaming and drink a couple beers to my favorite bands. Why do I want to waste money? That much money. I'd love to give my band some hard-earned money that I work for him, but I'm not paying $100 bucks for some nosebleed tickets. There ain't no friggin' way. I'm poor. Yeah. All right. Movies. Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone? You decide. Who was better? Yeah. I think Schwarzenegger probably had some of the better movies. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sylvester Stallone had good movies too. All the Rocky movies, the Rambo movies in the 80s, a couple other ones, Tango and Cash, Cobra. Lighten up a little bit with stuff like Over the Top arm wrestling movie and Meet Me Halfway Across the Sky. Good movies. I think Sylvester Stallone might have had more movies than Arnold Schwarzenegger. But Schwarzenegger, I mean, Conan the Barbarian was the first good movie Arnold Schwarzenegger had. He had only a couple before that, but the one movie, Hercules, they even dubbed his voice. Wasn't his voice or something. He did have a documentary, what was it called, Pump or something like that. That was actually pretty good, seeing him in his natural habitat in the gym and talking to people and being sarcastic. Oh, you got tiny yums. You got that kind of shit. Busting on Lou Ferrigno and shit like that. But yeah, movies like Predator, Running Man. Of course, the Running Man movie that aged that well, but Predator's still good. Total Recall, Commando, Red Heat. A lot of good Schwarzenegger movies and a lot of good one-liners. And Stallone had good one-liners too, but I think Arnold takes the cake in the one-liners. And even going into the 90s, Arnold had better movies, I think. So Arnold for the win. Now, speaking of Conan, best sword and sorcery movies besides Conan back in the 80s, I'd have to go with, any beer left of this? Oh, yeah, let's pour some. Of course, Excalibur was a great one. It was a King Arthur movie. Really good. Patrick Stewart is actually in that one, too. I forget which character he played, but he's in it. He's younger. He's still bald, I think. But I think he had a little buzz, I think. I think he had a little hair, actually. Who else was in that? That was a pretty good movie, actually. I like it. A good sword and sorcery movie. They're two of my favorites from that time frame. Low budget ones, I did like Hawk the Slayer was pretty good. I thought they should have come out with a part 2, but they didn't. There should have been a part 2. Beastmaster was good, but it was one of those movies they burn out on TV. Hawk the Slayer, they played on TV quite a bit too, but Beastmaster, they really played on TV, syndicated TV. Every damn channel, WGN this week, TBS next week. Every channel had Hawk or Beastmaster on there. Krull, Krull, was okay. I don't think it was good as any of those other ones. The Sword and the Sorcerer, Dragon Slayer, Ator, some of those movies were really crappy. Matter of fact, I tried to watch some of them. I could watch Krull a little bit, but Ator, The Fighting Eagle, and all those other crappy sword and sorcery movies, I just couldn't watch them. So I'd recommend Conan the Barbarian, Conan the Destroyer, if you want to laugh a little bit, Excalibur, and what the hell is the other one? Hawk the Slayer. I like Hawk the Slayer, low budget, but some of the music, like some disco type music and sound effects. Yeah, it's pretty good. And I like it because it's the first exposure for me, at least, to an elf in a movie. Not a little elf, Christmas elf or whatever. but a tall guy, regular sized human, pointy ears, and a bow and arrow, and he shot real fast. And his name was Crow, Crow, and he talked like I'm Crow. Talked like somebody has on the Asperger scale, or Asperger, is that what it is? Asperger? Yeah, whatever hell it's called, scale. My name is Crow. I just don't like killing people. I'm just afraid. Yeah, fun times. But they had a giant, wasn't really a giant, just a big guy, a dwarf, who just looked like a short guy. Crow, and then they had an old man with a crossbow. He had his hand cut off, but he still could fire his crossbow. It was an automatic crossbow. And then Hawk, the Slayer. And the villain was Jack Palance. He was Voltan. And, of course, they stole a little bit from Star Wars. He had a helmet similar to Darth Vader's, not quite, but it had half a face because he had the eye that was messed up, and you could see his other half of his face. Pretty damn good movie. I like it. Now, there is a newer book that came out, continued the story, kind of like a graphic novel. I need to buy that just to read it. Yeah. Next, is Back to the Future still the perfect movie trilogy? I never thought it was perfect because even though the third one's not bad, you're going from traveling to the 50s to the second one going to the future and then traveling back to the 50s. And then the third one going back to the 1800s or whatever it was. And I just didn't like it. Was it humorous? Yeah. He says his name's Clint Eastwood. And they're like, that's not a cowboy name, stuff like that. But I wasn't a big fan of that one. Do I think they could ever remake Back to the Future? I think they should. And I think they should do it, going back to the 80s. Instead of going back to the 50s, this new version they make, whenever they make it, go back to the 80s. From now to the 80s, I think it would be good. And then when they go to the future, of course, let's do it. 90s, 2000. Make it about 30 years in the future. Make it the 50s or the 60s of 2050s, 2060s. Be pretty cool. Especially to see what they might be able to do now with the future. And they could make it a more serious movie trilogy too, I think. I really think they could make it Back to the Future and make it a serious, dark thriller. Really. I mean, they can make it kind of funny when they go back to the 80s, but when they go to the future with AI and shit, they can make it a dark, futuristic thriller. Matter of fact, like make it dark. That'd be awesome, actually. Who's Jammer is here to comment on that one. Yeah. That would have been special. All right, next. Oh. Technology, life before GPS. How did you get around? I Googleize everything now. Hey, directions. I even go in my same neighborhood. I do it sometimes just to know the speed limit, because sometimes you're like, look for a speed limit sign. I'm like, what the fuck's the speed limit? I got Google directions on Google Maps. It shows you what the speed limit should be right on there. Hopefully it's right. So I do it for that. But back in the day, I used to go to, even before MapQuest, I'm trying to think, man. If you had to drive somewhere, someone gave you directions. Hey, you just come down this road all the way. You're going to pass this road. You're going to come up to this church. And then about 2 blocks after that, you want to take a left. Or you had to have a fucking street map of the city. Or if you're driving the highways, the big maps. Fuck, I can't imagine being back in those days now. But it was easy back then. You didn't depend on a phone. You got directions. You're like, okay. And then you looked, if you, we'll just say in early internet days, you could look on MapQuest or something. And you could say, okay, so that's where I want to turn. So it's 3 blocks after that light. I got to turn left. Okay. And you can print out the map or whatever. But before that, I mean, you had to go by straight up directions. Man. Yeah. That's one good thing I like about technology. Yeah. Next, rent movies from Blockbusters on Friday night. Did you enjoy it? Do you miss it? I kind of miss it. It was fun to go out there and, oh, I hope they got that new movie. You know, you get there and they don't fucking have it. They only had 30 copies and they rented them all out or whatever. That kind of sucked. But it was fun, like going through your favorite genre movie, horror, sci-fi, whatever. Going through looking at movies and, wow, I never seen this before. Not knowing any reviews on it or anything, just say, hell with it. Let's rent this. This looks good. My stepfather used to rent the greatest movies in the 80s. Came home one time with his Cinderella movie. I'm like, Cinderella? We pop it in. It's like a soft porn. It was like a black guy. He was a thief breaking in houses. He breaks into Cinderella's house thinking nobody's home. She catches him and he got a bag. He's like lying and says, I'm a fairy godmother. And she's like, what? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, look, I got a wand. He happened to have a wand in the bag of all the houses he'd been robbing all night. And it gives her a red snapper when she goes to the ball and the prince, does his thing with her, and he's looking all around the kingdom for the girl with the red snapper. And yeah, that was pretty funny. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Blockbuster. Yeah. Now you didn't get that from Blockbuster. It was what was it called? West Coast Videos or something like that. It was a smaller chain. That's where I rented that one from. Dial-up internet, AOL. What was your first dial-up internet and AOL? What was your first computer? My first computer was a Compaq. Yeah, it sucked. It was a big ass monitor, like that deep, and it wasn't too bad of a computer though. But of course, dial-up internet. Oh, I had a game called the hell, Fantasy Kingdom or some type of kingdom one. It was AI. You just put rewards on monsters, and your characters went after the monsters and stuff like that. And there was a multiplayer one. You play with other people online, 4 people. It crashed every time I couldn't even get on there. It was horrible. I tried to get Jammered by that game too, but he bought some like Mafia game or something. Then we both could have been crashing. Yeah. Next beer. Hold on, y'all. One more beer, then it's bedtime. Somebody out there somewhere waiting for someone to come. All right, last beer for this Tuesday drinking and thinking spectacular. A terrible Tuesday. Right. No Jammer. I think PA Brew News and new commentator BLP. It's got to be somebody from a different country. BLP and SANJEL 6859. Thanks for coming. Oh, yeah, rugby. Now, I can start doing beer reviews on Fridays and Saturday nights if I want to, because I have Friday and Saturday nights off now. Jammer can't drink on those days because it's family days. But I can. I don't have Tuesday, Wednesdays off anymore. I only like doing beer reviews on my days off. But I told Jammer I'll still do them on Tuesdays or Wednesdays because we both work night shift. As long as I'm not on and drinking strong beers till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Because I got to get up about 7:45 at night. But on Saturdays and Fridays nights, I could probably start doing live beer reviews on better nights, actually. We got Yuenglings all over the place, man. There's Yuengling, and Anakin's going to kill all of them, right? Let's get to the next topic. How about that? Man, my voice is going out for some reason. But that's okay, as long as it doesn't go out permanent. That'd suck. Be no more beer review. I'd have to learn sign language, right? And Jammer would have to translate. Not sure what that is. Okay, here we go. All right. Yeah, so we talked about last computer, internet, AOL, whatever. I don't think I had AOL, did I? I did have AOL chat messenger or whatever it was called, but I never had AOL internet. I usually got the local Yoko internet service from town here at first, back in the 97, 98. Well, here's one. Commodore 64, Atari, or Tandy. I don't even know what the fuck a Tandy was. I had the Atari. One of my neighbors had the Commodore. Had some pretty good games on it. Was it the Commodore or was there another one? ColecoVision? Was that another one? Maybe he had a ColecoVision. I can't remember. He had a game called Demons to Diamonds or Diamonds to Demons. Yeah. I had the Atari. That was the original 2400, 20, whatever hell it was. The original Atari. Yeah. Good games, man. We got so many games for that system over the years, and of course you end up buying different systems. We had a Sega Master System, Sega Genesis. Never had a Nintendo myself or my brothers. We went with Sega. We were Sega boys or something. But always had the Atari. Got a couple games, from 83 all the way to 86, 87. Had a shitload of games, like 150 games at least. And then when I was in the Army in 95-ish, big snowstorm in Pennsylvania, and then it got hot real quick. It was like 2 or 3 foot of snow, and it melted real quick. The basement flooded. All those games got ruined. I guess they had them on a lower shelf down in the basement. Atari 2600 was ruined. All the games were ruined. If you have a heart and the Atari 2600 and all my favorite games, send them to me for nostalgic purposes. We had some fun games, Mega Maniac, Keystone Capers, of course, like the River Raid type games, Yar's Revenge. So many games. And there's a lot of games I didn't have. But we had a lot of games. Had a couple of those tank games. Actually, there was one where you drove and it just had it was almost like Tron looking. It just had outlines of tanks, like black with like a white glowing outline of different terrain, mountains and tanks and shit. It was kind of cool game, actually. Of course, we had the original one where you got all the maze and you shoot the bullets off walls or whatever. I forget what that game was called. Awesome. Drinking from a water hose. Anybody do that? Of course we all did back then. I probably wouldn't dare to touch a water hose right now drinking. I'm afraid to drink water out of a damn faucet. Yeah. But if beer was coming out of the damn water hose or the faucet, I'd drink it. Even if the faucet looked all rusted and corroded. I hear a siren. I know I'm back in Florida. A lot of sirens, car accidents, old people having heart attacks. Probably some young people having heart attacks. Drugs and stuff. Next up, lawn darts. Anybody play lawn darts? Didn't they outlaw those damn things? Let's Googleize it. Actually, I don't Googleize anymore. I chat GPT it. Were lawn darts outlawed, and what year were they outlawed? I'm pretty sure they were. Yes, they really were. Classic metal-tipped lawn darts, often sold as jarts, were banned from sale in the United States effective December 19, 1988 by the U.S. Consumer Product and Safety Commission. Few interesting Gen X facts. They were hugely popular in the 70s and early 80s. Before the outright ban, they were already restricted in 1970. They couldn't legally be marketed as toys and had to carry a warning label. The full ban came after thousands of injuries and several child fatalities caused by the heavy pointed darts. There's freaking child fatalities. I wonder how many. Over an 8-year period, about 6,100 emergency room visits were linked to lawn darts, with 81% of the injured being under the age of 15. They're probably throwing them at each other. Yeah. Yeah, so how many of us survived lawn darts, BB guns, riding bikes with no helmets, and drinking water from the hose? Yet somehow we're still here, right? Yeah. I already got my address updated. Fuck. Anyhow. My address should be updated already. Anyhow. Yeah, lawn darts. I heard it. I don't think I ever played with lawn darts. We might have when I was a little kid. Luckily, we didn't throw them at each other. Probably my cousin had them. We used to go to my cousin's house as kids, and they were pretty strict with the rules and stuff. So if we're out there playing lawn darts, I'm sure they were supervising the parents. Now, we did play the other thing. It had the hammer, big hammer, stick with a hammer, and the ball, and the metal thing. You had to hit the ball through, almost like polo, but you're standing up or something. Man, anything else? Sounds about it. Garbage pail kids. Never had them. I don't even know what the hell garbage pail kids are, actually. They come in a garbage pail. What were garbage pail kids? Hugely popular series of gross out trading cards and stickers that debuted in 1985. I never had them. By 1985, I was going on 14 years old, so yeah, I wasn't playing with toys anymore and stuff like that. I was getting into girls, and girls were getting into me. Yeah, Mad Magazine, another one. My older brother, God rest his soul, loved Mad Magazine. He tried to get my grandmother to buy it all the time. We go to church, then we go to the mall. There's one particular story. You see the Mad Magazine. Oh, I gotta have Mad Magazine. My grandmother would buy it for him, and she wouldn't get nothing for me or my younger brother because that was Grandma's angel. The firstborn's always a favorite by the grandparents sometimes. Until that grandchild disrespects that grandparent. Not talking about my brother, I'm talking about somebody else, but what the fuck? I don't give me these notifications. What else we got here? Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Magazine. Okay, yep. Sears Christmas Wish Book. Yeah, I remember we used to go through the Sears catalog. Oh, I want that. I want that. I want that. You write your Christmas list based on Sears catalog, what they had. Shit, sometimes there'd be something you didn't even know about. Oh my God, what's this? Write it down in your Christmas list. You never get it. Record stores in the mall. Record stores in the mall. The only one I can remember the name of is Sam Goody's. I'm sure there's probably some other ones. Let's check. What were some popular record stores in the malls back in the 80s? Wall to Wall was another one, I believe. Sam Goody, Camelot Music. Oh yeah, Music Land, Record Bar, Tape World, Peaches Records and Tapes. Never heard of that. Tower Records, The Wall. Yeah, The Wall. That's what it was. Popular in many parts of the country. Yeah, yeah. I remember I used to buy records at first. Like, oh, your record's got the big album art, but then you're like going simpler, like, oh, saving room. Yeah, I just went with cassettes. I'd scratch so many records, stuff like that. But what I should have, well, if I was rich, of course I wasn't rich, but what I should have done if I was rich, I would have bought 2 sets of records. Like, buy this record, one I'm not opening, the one I'm going to play. Because certain records are worth money, I did have a record. I'm sure it's not worth a lot of money or anything, but the original cover was banned, so then they changed it to where you see the girl like this. Poison's Open Up Say Ah, the long tongue. That was banned, and they changed it to black, where you just see her nose and her eyes, pretty much. It was horrible. But I had the original one, but it wasn't worth. If it wasn't going to be worth anything, it wasn't because they used it as a wall hanging. So I had a little hole in the, about a quarter-size hole in the corner where they plucked whatever through it to hang it. So that kind of sucked. But I threw all my records out about 10 years ago, 8 years ago. I had a lot of old records, not a lot, probably about 10 or 12 records. I was like, I'm moving at, I never play them. I was like, man, some of them were scratched. I had Quiet Riot, Mental Health, Rat Out of the Cellar, Motley Crue, Shout the Devil, The Poison, Open Up and Say Ah. What else did I have? A couple other ones. Tossed them. That was probably stupid. All right, next topic. Arcades, where a quarter lasted 20 minutes, unless you played, what the hell was that game? Dirk the Daring or whatever? Was that the name of the game? Dirk the Daring? The cartoon type game. And that was more expensive. That was like 50 cents. That was like the first 50-cent game, I think. And you wasted 50 cents right away. I mean, if you made it through the first 3 scenes, you're pretty good. That game was horrible. I wanted to complete it just so I could watch the whole thing. I would have paid $10 just to watch the whole thing from start to finish. Matter of fact, I paid $10 right now to watch. I wonder if they got it on YouTube. I should check it out one of these days. Dragon's Lair is what it was called, right? And the character name was Dirk the Daring. Dragon's Lair. Yeah, pretty good. Some computer games or arcade games, I lasted a little bit of time, for one quarter. Yeah, you might have got lucky last 15, 20 minutes, but most times it's about 10 minutes, I'd say, if you're lucky. Pac-Man, I was never good at that. Pac-Man, less than 5 minutes. Centipede, maybe 7 minutes. Now, I was pretty good at Defender, and what was the other? Missile Command, Defender, Joust. I didn't get the point of that game, but somehow I lasted a little while on that game. Dig Dug. Hubert was another weird one. I didn't understand the concept of that one. Yeah, there you go. Speaking of games, I just saw Mortal Kombat 2 the other day. That was pretty good. I mean, just as good as the one that came out 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They got Johnny Cage in it, of course. What's that guy's name? Who plays Johnny Cage in the Mortal Kombat movie? I forget his name. He's in The Boys.
Johnny Cage has been played by Lyndon Ashby in 1999.
Carl Urban.
Chris Conrad in
Carl Urban does an alright job. I was thinking, why the guy he's playing Johnny Cage? He's like too old, but he did an alright job, and they did makeup on him or something. I don't know. And they did throw in a couple new characters in the game and or in the movie. I forget the guy with the big teeth. Him. Of course, you got Jade and the girl with the fan things. And a couple of them die, but supposedly they have the necromancer. I don't want to give you spoiler alerts. I'll tell you who dies. You might want to turn it off now. Spoiler alerts: who dies in Mortal Kombat 2? Jax. What's his name? The guy with the hat that spins. Looks like a sombrero, but it's Japanese or Chinese. He's back as the undead, or they necromance him to come back. He gets killed again, but Liu Kang gets stabbed, turns into a fire, knows what his thing is now, and turns into a fiery dragon. And he's going to go get the other guy to come back. And then Jax dies. Somebody else died. Oh, the new guy they had in the movie that was Scorpion's descendant from the first movie. He's back in there. He dies in a tournament. And they don't even cry that much about him. That's pretty sad. But at the end of the movie, they get the necromancer, and they're like, we got to bring some friends back or something. So who knows who's coming back when they do a part 3. Hopefully soon. Hopefully we don't have to wait 2 or 3 years for it. Now, I was never a big Mortal Kombat fan, but I liked the game. It was fun, you know. I just never really. Some people I know were like, they're Mortal Kombat experts, and they really got into get over here, fatality. Oh, I was like crazy, and they're like, wow. I was more of a Tekken guy. I like Tekken. Tekken 2, Wang, the old man, his jiu-jitsu or whatever. Like I had it perfect where somebody throw a punch, and he had that move where he grabbed their arm and flung them and stuff like that. It was awesome. Yeah. But Mortal Kombat was cool. A lot of the characters are cool. I'm glad they come out with some new movies. I wish they could have done a good movie for Tekken. There's a movie out there for Tekken, but I guess it's not good. There's supposed to be a new Street Fighter movie, if I heard correctly. I think they could do Tekken justice if they did it right, but make Yoshimitsu the what's the Bruce Lee guy? It's like some martial law or something. Yeah. They have some good characters. All right, next on the agenda. Comic-Con just wrapped up with major Marvel and DC announcements, giving longtime comic fans plenty to debate. And that's all I got on that. So I don't know what they're debating or the new announcements or anything. Don't know. What product do you miss the most that disappeared? Pepsi Clear disappear? Yeah. All those clear products. What was that, in the 90s? I think so. That Pepsi Clear, they had clear this, clear that. A lot of them cleared out of the way because they were stupid. The Pepsi one was horrible. Which restaurant chain was better back in the day? I don't know. A restaurant. I like Bennigan's. Was it like Irish? Not really, but it did have a couple. I liked it, and it went out of business, right? I like Bennigan's. Bennigan's has been missed, but they didn't capitalize. If you're going to be Irish, you got to capitalize Irish, and they didn't capitalize on Irish enough. They missed the opportunity. Fucking chair. What's one thing that every kid born after 2000 will never understand? porno magazines. Porno magazines. They'll never understand it. They'll never understand that was really excitement back in the day for a lot of us. I mean, the first porno mag I seen, I probably was like too young to be seeing a porno mag. Either a friend had one or stole it from their dad. I remember first time seeing probably a porno mag when I was like 7 years old or something. But the interesting thing about it is that most of the memories I have about that wasn't the women, because at 7 years old I probably didn't have no interest in women, as much as like a 12 or 13-year-old would. It was the comical stuff, the cartoons or the comic strip parts of the magazines. That's what I remember of those days, And then later on, 10, 11, 12, Yeah. Anyhow, kids born after 2000s will never understand that. If you could go back to 1 year for a weekend, what year would it be? Just for a weekend. Well, it'd kind of be weird to go back to 1980 something, as I am now, trying to go hang out with my 14, 15-year-old friends. As I'm looking right now, they'd be like, what the fuck? You say, hey, Shag Dog, is that your dad? And Shag Dog might be like, looks like him a little bit, but I better get to bed. It's almost bedtime, folks, and the beer's almost gone, so we're good to go. Let's get every little drop we can get out of there before we go. Yeah, a couple of drops. Got to squeeze out the Yuenglings. There we go. Next one. Which celebrity death hit you hardest? Man, not a lot, but a couple of them. Man, John Ritter was a big one for me because he wasn't old. He was in his 50s. And it was almost like my dad dying. I mean, he raised me and taught me about women. John Ritter, late 70s, early 80s, Three's Company. That one hit me the most. I'm trying to think of some other ones through the years, going back to the Thurman Munson dying. Didn't hit me. I wasn't a Yankees fan. That one hit my brother. John Lennon didn't faze me. I was only about 8 years old or something, but Ronald Reagan getting shot, now that fazed me. But he didn't die, thankfully. Let's see, any celebrities? I think John Ritter is the only one that really affected me bad. Chuck Norris didn't faze me because he is old. Usually it's the young ones. If you get a young one that you like and you follow all through their career or something, or the young career, they say they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s. 20s, I mean, you haven't really followed them too long unless they've been acting since they were 5 or something. But somebody that's in their 40s or 50s that you've known them since they were in their 20s or 30s acting for 20, 30 years, yeah, that hits you. Yeah. Heath Ledger, a little bit. Yeah. Let's Googleize. For actors that were, or at celebrities, athletes, young ones, who were the biggest surprise deaths between the ages of 20 and 55? Give me a list of about 20 people. Let's do it. River Phoenix. I didn't, because River Phoenix, Stand By Me is in another little weird movie. Wasn't a big River Phoenix fan. I don't even know what he was in besides those. Brandon Lee was a big one. Even though I only like The Crow, But it was shocked to find out that Jason Lee, Jason Lee played Bruce Lee in the movie. That Bruce Lee's son died so young, you know. John Candy was a big one. Chris Farley was another one, 33 years old. John Candy was 43. Chris Farley, 33. John Belushi, 33. Kurt Cobain, I mean, I was shocked. I didn't really care. I mean, but yeah. Tupac Shakur, supposedly. Notorious B.I.G., 24. Tupac was only 25 at that point. Aliyah, the girl on the plane, right? 22. Selena, 23. She's only 23. Wow. I had a whole life ahead of her. Both of them. Stevie Ray Vaughan was only 35 when he died. Holy shit, I thought he was old. Of course, I was like 17 or 18 at the time. He was only 35. Wow. Randy Rose was only 25 years old when he died. Dimebag Darrell, not a big shock. I mean, that was 38 years old. Shouldn't have died the way he died. Freddie Mercury, 45. Who knew, right? Heath Ledger was 28. Paul Walker, 40. He lived half of a life, but should have been with a friend speeding in a damn Porsche. Dale Earnhardt, 49, but big surprise, you know, hear about a crash at Daytona. Okay, he died. You see a lot of crashes in NASCAR. You never see anybody die, but Payne Stewart, who is Payne Stewart, but he died at 42. Len Bias, 22, basketball player, drafted by the Celtics, died of cocaine overdose or something. Jose Fernandez, who was that? Who was Jose Fernandez? His name sounds familiar. Oh, yeah, the guy in the Miami Marlins. One of the brightest young stars in Major League Baseball and an ace of the Miami Marlins. A few highlights: born in Cuba, drafted by the Marlins, won the 2013 National League Rookie of the Year, two-time All-Star. Many people believe he was tracked to become one of the greatest pitchers of the generation. His death shocked the sports world on September 25th, 2016, age 24. He died in a boating accident off Miami Beach. Yeah, I remember that. Wow. Man, you just forget shit like that. Crazy. Anyhow, all-time favorite mall store, I like Spencer's Gifts. God, I mean, how could you go wrong going there, right? Good t-shirts, gag gifts. TV theme song you can still sing from memory. I can't sing any of them. I probably could sing a couple. I just can't think of them right now. Because occasionally me and Jammer will start singing. And as a matter of fact, there was a song we were singing last week. We did beer reviews and we sang a couple words, and I got a little stumped. He said, I can't remember the words, can you? I'm like, hold on. I had to think a little bit, and then I got the words back and sang a little bit of it. Matter of fact, let's sing one for you. I'm going to sing one as I close it out. Here we go, y'all. This is for you on the closeout of the Spitter Swallow Beer Reviews, Drinking and Thinking with just Shag Dog. All right. Here, let me look it up a different way. All right, here we go. Here we go, y'all. A 3, a 2, a 3, 2, 1. Show me that smile again. Don't waste another minute on your crying. We're nowhere near the end. The best is ready to begin. Oh, as long as we got each other, we got the world spinning right in our hands. Baby, you and me, we gotta be the luckiest dreamers who never quit dreaming. As long as we keep on giving, we can take anything that comes our way. Baby, rain or shine, all the time. We got each other, sharing our laughter and love. That'll do it for Shag Dog Spitter Swallow Beer Reviews. Drinking and thinking of little nostalgic moments of the 80s. 80s. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Hopefully Jammer can join us next week. Toodaloo. The Spinner Swallow Beer Review. Shag Dog, no Jammer. Subscribe, comment, like.